What up, Nuggy Gang? It's your boy, Fitty Nuggets, and we coming at you with another one of these tips for new keepers. This one's gonna be on the Crested Gecko. And I might just say, it's finna be lit. So, yeah. Let's just roll the intro. And by the way, if you're asking yourself, man, how do I be a part of the Chicken Nugget Gang? That sounds like the best gang in the world. Well, you're probably right. We definitely are the friendliest out of all the other gangs. All you gotta do is go down there at that lower left-hand corner, hit that subscribe button, and you can get, well, you don't get anything, but you get to call yourself part of the Chicken Nugget Gang, and honestly, that is just a reward all of its own. Alright, welcome back to Tips for New Keepers, a series where I just give random tips about animals in my collection that I knew when I was first starting out. So, let's hop right into it, and that's going to be number 1, babies are flighty. Now I know, you get your first Crested Gecko baby, you are super stoked. I mean, they're just adorable little McNuggets, running around doing what Crested Geckos do, and man, I just want to hold my new baby gecko. Here's the thing. When baby geckos are, well, babies, they are very flighty. Pretty much the flightiest they'll ever be in their lives is when they're at this age. I can tell you from first-hand experience, it is a P in the A. I'm trying to do a family-friendly, you see what it's a pain in the ass when I'm trying to, change the papers, change food, mist, check everyone, making sure there's no stuck sheds, things like that, and wrangling 12 baby Crested Geckos. It is the biggest pain ever. They're going all over the place. They're suicide jumping right out of the wall, hitting the floor, dashing around, going up the walls. It's a thing all of its own. Just definitely keep that in mind if you're a new keeper and wanted to handle your Crested Gecko. Be advised they are very flighty when they are babies. They'll usually grow out of this, and with some habituation, constant handling, things like this, they'll get into a routine where they feel a little bit more comfortable. However, it does vary on gecko to gecko. I have some, like, of course, Pebbles. In fact, hang on, we gonna hang on. Pebbles is back on the videos, unless she poops on me again, then she gets another timeout from videos. There are going to be some Crested Geckos like Pebbles here, who is just super handleable. I have 0 issues with Pebbles. She is my most handleable gecko, and then there are some geckos that kind of just never get out of that flightiness, kind of just is what it is. But for the most part, once your babies get a little bit older, around that 6 to 8 months, they'll start to calm down a little bit, and then once they're full grown at around that 2-year mark, they can become just as handleable as this. But moving on to the topic about babies, let's go over number 2, they might drop their tails. Now the reason Crested Geckos are so flighty is because, well, they're young, they're scared of everything, and they have that fight or flight instinct, and that tells them, hey, we need to book it out of here so we don't get into the troubles. Because they don't know, man. I mean, to you, your baby Crested Gecko, you are a god. A giant being sent from another world, pushing down on them with all your might of your godliness. You're big to them, that's really the point that I'm getting at. Of course, what is a Crested Gecko's best defense mechanism when it gets cornered? Dropping that tail. Crested Geckos drop their tail usually as a defense measure in order to get out of the predators. Fun fact, when they do drop the tail still wiggles around. It is very weird to watch. I have known from first-hand experience. And the animal's gonna be wary of that, this thing moving, where they are able to run away. Unfortunately, with Crested Geckos, this appendage does not grow back, so if they do lose it, they end up getting this little, stump. I was gonna say spud, but it's not a potato. This little, stumpy tail. People usually call them frog butts because it ends up looking like a frog butt. But it's just one of those things that might happen. It's pretty easy to scare these guys, so especially when they're younger, I'd go a little bit easier on you. No sudden movements, no loud noises, things like that to try to preserve the tail. However, it is just one of those things where if it happens, it happens. Not the biggest deal, but just definitely something to be aware of. I just don't want the thing that happened to me to happen to you, is when my Crested Gecko dropped its tail and I was like, oh my god, what the fuck is this thing squirming around? It looked like, you know what it looked like? It looked like one of those things from Slither trying to get at me. It's like an alien. I was concerned, to say the least. But now we know, not that big of a deal. Tip number 3 for Crested Geckos. Suicide jumping is a thing. And by God, do they do it. He's getting his little head rubs, oh boy. Now, if you guys have been a fan of the channel for any amount of time and watched my Crested Gecko videos, if you haven't, I'll just put a playlist right there. We have plenty of them. It's pretty good stuff. You will know that these Crested Geckos jumps. This one from time to time, but mostly my other ones. I'm talking about my breeding updates, things like that, holding my Crested Geckos. They suicide jump. What is suicide jumping, Dakota? Well, it is when there is literally nothing in sight for them to climb on. There is literally absolutely no reason for them to be jumping. They have no reason to be doing this, no business whatsoever, and yet they just go, woo! Usually followed by a big plopping noise, which is their big potato-like bellies hitting the hardwood. My God, I don't know how these things survive in the wild. Suicide jumping is a normal thing. I guess you would call it part of the defense mechanism because they just fucking yeet themselves into the heavens. They're just like, I'm going for it. What are they going for? That remains unclear. Scientists have spent decades trying to figure it out, and yet they believe it is just because Crested Geckos honestly only possess 2 brain cells. I mean, look at this thing. There ain't much going on in that head, I can assure you. It's something to be aware of. As far as I can tell, it does not have any negative effects on them. One would think flinging yourself 5 feet into the air and landing on a hard surface would have negative consequences, but hey, Crested Geckos, that just, I don't fucking know. But if you move too fast, they drop their tail. They'll fling themselves into the heavens, but the tail, I don't know where I'm going. Move it, next tip. Last tip, I think, and unless I think of any as one right off the bat, I do not plan these things whatsoever. I simply start a video and just whatever pops into my head, I say it. Hence the name Random Tips. That's not the name of the title. Tip number 4 or 5, whichever tip number we are on, FTS is something that you should avoid, and here's how to do it. What you guys are thinking? FTS? I think I caught that on the toilet back in '94. That's not that kind of thing, you fucking sicko. No, FTS, or other known as floppy tail syndrome, is when, well, you can see a clear indication right here. Pebbles actually has floppy tail syndrome. Floppy tail syndrome is usually caused by not enough horizontal perches or enough coverage and foliage in their enclosure, so when they are sticking like this onto the glass when they sleep, their tail will eventually run out of or degrade in muscle, and the tail will eventually flop outward. This is an irreversible thing, unfortunately. Much like MBD, there's really not much you can do. Just make sure that they have, the foliage that they need so it does not, the condition does not worsen. Why is FTS bad for geckos? Well, for one thing, you can't really breed them. I decided not to breed geckos after I got her back from a breeding loan because she developed FTS. Thanks, guy. Thanks for giving, my favorite gecko floppy tail syndrome. You're a real fucking MVP. Dick. Now we're seeing that she has some hip deformations due to the FTS, and just something right there. This is where the eggs are gonna get pooped out of. Looks a little messed up, just something I don't want to risk. I do not want this gecko to be egg-bound. She is absolutely my favorite gecko. She has the best personality. It's the calmest little nugget. I am completely in love with her, and just the fact that I can't breed her anymore and just continue to have her a pet is all that I need. Besides, she makes a great pet mascot for the channel when she's not literally shitting all over me and then jumping off. Most of the time she's pretty good though. Alright, now it's time for the lightning round! That's supposed to be the noise lightning makes. Maybe I'll have to find a sound effect, maybe I won't. Lightning round, this is where I just ramble on a bunch of different things. So, number 1, feature Crested Gecko insects. Although it can be used on Rapashi, Pangea, things like this, they do enjoy hunting. It's great mental stimulation. It's great for getting their weight up, especially if you're thinking about breeding Crested Geckos. Supplement with insects, variety of insects. You can find some of that information in one of these videos if I decide to post one. Number 2, UVB is very beneficial to Crested Geckos. New studies have shown that surpluscular species such as the Crested Geckos still benefit from UVB, and actually can be found basking in the UVB rays. So hey, UVB, it's like a $20 bulb. Even just getting the small one, that makes all the difference to them. Make sure to get UVB. Let's see, anything else on the top of my head? Let's see, going once, going twice, going 3 times. I don't think I have anything else. We're gonna wrap up the video. Alright, my little nuggy crew, that's gonna be it. Me and Pebbles, we're gonna bounce up out of here. So, As always, if you like the video, please feel free to give us a thumbs up. If you want to see some more of my animals or my breeding products, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, DBCB Exotics. We're also on TikTok, like some cool merch designs, like maybe that design right there, that design right there. Hey, that design's pretty cool right there. You can find all those at teespring.com/DBCB Exotics, right down there in the description, where we also have Patreon, patreon.com/DBCB Exotics, where you get cool premium content, like new animals I get and the pictures I take of them before anyone else gets to see them. Breeding projects I do, you get up-to-date information on everything that's going on. First dibs on the animals I produce. You like tokay geckos? You like crested geckos? You like monitors? Hey, we're gonna have a shit ton of stuff in 2021. You might want to sign up for that one. Also, you even get a tier. You get discounts on that rad merch I just showed and the animals I produce. It all sounds pretty good. Can be found as just as low as $1 a month. That's the price of a McChicken, guys. And come on, you're already part of the Chicken Nugget gang. You need any more chicken in your life? I don't think so. So let's head right down there. Let's all become a Patreon member and make Dakota Burke the richest nugget in the West. We'll see you tomorrow.